Welcome to Art of Officiating's weekly dozen, comprising plays through November 2nd, 2024. I'm Mark Bradley. It's almost whiteout conditions outside my home office window, so you may hear the wind howling occasionally. These videos are from Colorado Springs games, so I'll reference the Colorado 5-Person Mechanics Manual and Colorado Rules Interpretations and Modifications. As always, please consult your state's mechanics manual and rules interpretations if I say something that doesn't match what you do in your state. I have a few recurring weaknesses as a referee. One is I sometimes brain lock when I see an illegal use of hands to the neck or face mask area. My mind says, that's not okay, but for some inexplicable reason, I fail to toss a flag. I showed an example of that in an earlier Weekly Dozen video. Another issue I've had is over the years I've sometimes failed to stay with the quarterback for that extra second or two following a handoff or pitch. I immediately shift my focus to the runner and leave the quarterback unprotected. B33 takes a cheap shot on A1. A1 was not simulating having the ball, and B33's contact was helmet to helmet, and I missed it. As you can see, A1 was not too happy with me. He immediately approached me and said, "You've got to see that. He hit me in the face mask with the top of his helmet." Anytime a player or coach has a concern, we must politely listen and honestly respond. You'll be surprised how an honest and respectful response goes a long way to calm a player or a coach. I said, "Yes, I'm sorry. I totally missed that. I didn't protect you as I should have. I'll make sure I keep an eye on you after you get rid of the ball." And he immediately went from about a 6 emotionally to a 1. The punchline? I need to continue to work hard to keep my eyes on the quarterback for a few more seconds after a handoff or a pitch. Also, we can't be afraid to be transparent with coaches and players. We don't need to put up a false facade when we are confronted. If we make a mistake, we need to admit it, learn from it, and move on. The foul occurred with about 5 minutes remaining in the first half, and I improved my eye discipline for the remainder of the game. There are 2 main teaching points in this video. The first is forward progress. Rule 215.1 says forward progress is the end of advancement of the ball toward the opponent's goal in a runner's possession. This is from the 2024 Reading Study Guide. Voluntary movement is a key concept here. If a runner is contacted and loses ground, his forward progress is where the contact was initiated. The runner should not be penalized for losing ground, even if there is separation between the runner and defender, unless the runner voluntarily retreats from the defender. Where would you mark forward progress? Here, here, or here? In my judgment, A21's voluntary forward progress was stopped at the B20. He wasn't wrapped up, he was driven back with a hard hit from the defender. He's then wrapped up here. It's not appropriate to immediately kill the play until it's certain A21 will not voluntarily move in a different direction. When B1 wraps him up, the line judge should sound his whistle and then rule A21's forward progress ended on the B20. Now we'll talk about the second teaching point. B1 lifts A21 off the ground and then body slams him. This is a foul 100% of the time. It's unnecessary roughness. Many fans, players, and coaches, and unfortunately some officials, reject attempts to eliminate unnecessary roughness from the game of football. The days of ESPN showing he got jacked up clips on primetime television are over. We can see massive but legal collisions in football. This is not one of them. And by the way, it's not the line judge's fault if he didn't immediately blow the whistle when B1 wrapped up A1 and pushed him backward. Yes, the line judge should have been giving a tweet, but B1 is responsible for his actions. He knew exactly what he was doing. Sadly, the home team's head coach referenced this play in his post-game interview with a newspaper reporter and said it was one of the best hits he's seen all season. So it's apparent the coach doesn't understand the concept. Here's another pickup and slam video from earlier in the season. B50 is fine all the way up to the time he picks up A21 and body slams him to the ground. When a player picks up an opponent, he's now solely responsible for what happens next. And most of the time, the outcome is not positive. Here's a play you don't witness very often. R40's helmet comes off after a slight hit. Rule 964G says it is illegal participation for a player whose helmet comes completely off during a down to continue to participate beyond the immediate action in which the player is engaged. I'll bet dollars to donuts most players and coaches don't know 964G. So when R40 moves forward to block, he's guilty of illegal participation. The tackle occurred almost simultaneously, and R40 didn't impact anything or endanger himself, so a no call is okay. But this is by rule illegal participation. Now let's explore the hypothetical. Rule 943L says it is a personal foul for a player to initiate contact with an opposing player whose helmet has come completely off. Let's say for the sake of this teaching point, K14 blocks R40 after his helmet comes off. We would then have two flags, one for illegal participation on R40 and one for a personal foul on K14. How do we enforce these fouls? Team R has two options. It can accept Team K's penalty. Team K will then accept Team R's penalty. The penalties will cancel, and the free kick will be replayed. Or, in accordance with Rule 10.2.2, the clean hands rule, Team R can decline Team K's penalty to keep the ball. Team K will then choose to enforce Team R's penalty half the distance to the goal from the R28. Team R would then next snap the ball from the R14. I'm pretty sure Team R's head coach would choose to have the penalties cancel and replay the free kick. The subsequent action would most often result in a play that ends beyond the R14. Here's another illegal participation video. Team A is lined up with three receivers stacked on the line judge's side. The back judge has the receiver on the line of scrimmage and the middle receiver. The line judge has the third receiver. The line judge appears a little conflicted. He appears to want to view the back judge's keys with his body movement and his head movement, but I think his spider sense is tingling a little because he checks back with A6. A6 accidentally steps out of bounds. As soon as that happens, A6 has sealed his fate. Remember, only Team B or R is provided the latitude to accidentally step out of bounds. When A6 steps back onto the field, he is guilty of illegal participation. The line judge's flag is correct by rule. The penalty is enforced 15 yards from the previous spot with a replay of the down. The line judge could also have ruled A6 did not establish himself inbounds before he touched the pass and ruled the pass was incomplete with no foul. We don't have video replay on the field, and this is so close to the sideline, either call would be acceptable. Here's the same official from the same game. I want to show you what right looks like, almost, with proper eye discipline and movement during a passing play. The formation is balanced, so the back judge has the receiver on the line judge's side, and the line judge has the back on his side. At the snap, the line judge moves 2 steps to the B40, which is the only thing I don't like in this clip. But then he realizes he's too close and retreats the 2 steps back to the line of scrimmage to enhance his field of view to his key. As quarterback A2 approaches the sideline, the line judge takes a quick peek into the backfield to reorient based on A2's movement. He backs up slightly just in case A2 turns the corner. This is no man's land for a wing. The line judge must simultaneously rule on the 2 receivers near his sideline, see how A21 is moved into the line judge's zone, while paying attention to not getting run over by the quarterback. The line judge is able to be in the perfect position, and he's not focusing on the quarterback, so he is able to correctly rule on A21's catch inbounds. Notice how he turns his back to the field to view players out of bounds. He then pivots to face the field when players are on the field and separated. Note, if this play had not resulted in a first down, it would have been appropriate for the line judge to give the wind the clock signal to the game clock operator as A21's forward progress ended inbounds. Here's more wing goodness. The ball is snapped from the B3. Notice how far back the goal line marker is from the sideline. As a pregame action, move the yard line markers at least 2 yards from the sideline and move the goal line markers even farther back. We'll see the reason why in a few seconds. At the snap, the linesman moves immediately to the goal line and then backs up. We can't officiate when our safety is in jeopardy. When wings have responsibility for the goal line, they don't assure their safety by allowing the runner to go by and then trailing the runner. They must get to the money line and then back straight up as far as it takes. That's why we put the goal line markers as far back as possible. Notice how the umpire is standing over the ball until the referee blows the ready for play. This snap occurs after penalty enforcement. Umpires do not put the ball down and back away if the referee will give the ready for play. It's your job to protect the ball until you are pushed away by the referee. He backs straight up, doesn't turn his back to the ball. Get to the goal line immediately and then back up so your safety is not in jeopardy. This is a rare huddle video that shows proper wing mechanics when a punt goes out of bounds in the air. Normally, huddle cuts off the clip seconds after the ball is dead, so I was overjoyed to be able to splice 2 clips together to show the full mechanic. We'll watch the line judge the entire clip. He starts by clearing his sideline. Part of the pre-snap routine for wings on 4th down is to look downfield and say, "Coach, I'm coming your way," or "Coach, I need you back, please." If your team's sideline is receiving the punt, it's a good idea to check in with the ball person and remind him or her to be ready to give a clean ball to you or the umpire as soon as the play is over. The line judge releases on the snap. He doesn't walk, he runs. He keeps his eyes on the gunners on his side and also takes a peek at the location of the ball. If the ball bounces in the field of play, and then goes out of bounds, he's responsible for marking the out of bounds spot. But because the ball went out of bounds in the air, he'll get help from the referee. By the way, referees, if you aren't 100% sure the wing will not need help with the spot, stay at your position behind where the punter kicked the ball. Don't assume the wing won't need you to help identify where the ball went out of bounds. Don't run down the field prematurely. The wing gives the stop the clock signal and runs past where he thinks the ball went out of bounds. He then turns, sticks an arm in the air, and walks back upfield while watching the referee. When the referee chops, he stops on a yard line and gives a first down signal. Clear the sideline. Make sure that entire 2-yard restricted area is clear of players and coaches. Watch the gunners look for the ball. The ball goes out of bounds. Give the stop the clock signal. Run past where you think the ball went out of bounds. Turn, put your hand in the air, and walk back up the sideline until the referee chops. When the referee chops, give the first down signal. Okay, I lied. We'll look at the rest of the crew now. The umpire already has a clean ball and is proceeding to the 30-yard line to place the ball on the near hash. The back judge is almost in position, and the chains are properly set. Then the referee comes into view. This is a very smooth transition for the crew to go from a 4th down scrimmage kick to spot the ball for a first down snap. After praising the crew for flawless scrimmage kick mechanics, let's look at some mistakes during an attempted onside kick. The linesman is now at midfield, and the umpire has jumped the line judge on the press box side and is positioned on the K40. Team K is not guilty of encroachment. So far, so good. The kicker kicks the ball straight into the air. K13 is first to touch the ball at the K49. What do you have at this moment? Let's answer that question after we finish watching the clip. The line judge and the umpire toss a beanbag near the K49 to mark the spot of first touching. The linesman doesn't toss a beanbag, but comes onto the field at the K49. So what do you not like about this image? No one is paying attention to the players. It's as if nothing else matters except for the K49. After we toss beanbags and penalty flags to specific spots, we must then continue to officiate the play until completion. Then we officiate some more. I could presume if K13 and R83 committed personal fouls, it would go unobserved because the 4 officials are all laser focused on 1 yard line, the K49. All 4 officials are now doing the same job of a $4 beanbag. The beanbag allows the opportunity to leave that yard line and officiate the end of the play. The umpire is squaring off at the K49 and keeps giving the first touching signal. It's important to officiate the players. After the players separate, then pause, take a breath, and then move on to reporting the outcome of the play. We now have 4 officials on exactly the same yard line. Here's another old school reference. I just can't help myself. Matthew Quigley in the movie Quigley Down Under could take out 4 high school football officials with 1 shot. If you don't get the reference and you like Westerns, watch Quigley Down Under. You can then send me an email to thank me for enriching your life. Okay, back to the video. For those of you who are screaming at your computer or cell phone, yes, the crew missed something significant. Team K cannot touch a free kick in flight. This is kick-catching interference. We should have had flags, not beanbags, and Team R should next snap the ball from the K34. We have 2 players on the ground that are wrestling for the ball, and none of the officials are officiating that action. If you're going to throw a beanbag on the K49, let the beanbag keep that spot and officiate the players. We don't need 4 officials on the same yard line. The formation is strong to the linesman's side, so the back judge has the outside receiver on the linesman's side. The linesman has the inside receiver, and the line judge has the sole receiver on his side. At the snap, the line judge's key A19 runs across the field about 9 yards downfield. The line judge does not need to move from his spot on the line of scrimmage. Move only when you need to improve proximity to your assigned receivers or to improve your look angle. Don't move just to move. The line judge does not watch A19, but focuses on the referee's primary key, the left tackle, A69. A69 restricts his opponent and spins him to the ground. This is demonstrated restriction, but does it impact the play? It's the referee's judgment whether A69 should be flagged for holding. The left tackle is the referee's primary key. The referee purposefully passed on this action. He later said it was a hold, but not at the point of attack. It may appear to be an egregious foul, but it didn't impact the play. Just like with 1,000 other videos we've watched, we'll have differing opinions. The defensive team's coach will probably insist his player could have reached the quarterback if he wasn't fouled. Officials may say, if you pass on that obvious foul, your credibility will take a hit. Our criteria for flagging a player for holding includes 3 components. Demonstrated restriction, which we see in the video, at the point of attack that impacts the play. Bottom line, the referee gets the final vote. The line judge doesn't get a vote because his key is running across the field. Let's continue by looking at the hit on the quarterback. You can see A11's helmet snap to the right as the defender executes the tackle. Without the illegal helmet contact, this is illegal play. Because of the illegal helmet contact, this is roughing the passer. Back to the line judge. After we throw a flag, continue to officiate to the end of the play. Mirror the linesman's spot on the A49 and dead ball officiate. Keep an eye on the players. Then report your foul to the referee. 2 arm waves is sufficient unless the clock continues to run. The clock stopped after the first stop the clock signal. As I've said in previous Weekly Dozen videos and at least one Ready for Play article, I believe correctly ruling on illegal blocks in the back is possibly the #1 foul high school officials get wrong. Rule 252 says blocking in the back is initial contact inside the shoulders. This would be contact that covers the numbers. By rule, any contact that is not directly behind the opponent, initiated with open hands, is not a foul. We use the term chaser to describe a player who may be guilty of an illegal block in the back. In this clip, A21 is not a chaser. He doesn't approach B15 from behind. He approaches from the side. He initiates contact with his hands, so this is not a blindside block. B15 wants a foul, but like many coaches and most players, he doesn't understand the rule. B21's block is legal. It's from the side, and it's initiated with open hands. This is not a blindside block, and it is not an illegal block in the back. When we rule on blocks in the back, we want to look for chasers, and we want to see that block cover the numbers from behind. We'll finish this week's video with another judgment call. Rule 943C says it is illegal personal contact for a player to pile on any player who is lying on the ground. I'll show you a sideline view followed by a drone view. You determine if B64's contact on A1 is unnecessary roughness. B64 is preparing to tackle A1 when the quarterback loses his balance and spins to the ground. Is B64's next movement considered renewed effort, or is his movement a continuation of his original preparation to contact A1? After watching this video a dozen times in slow motion, I've changed my opinion from no foul to this is a personal foul. B64 tucks his body as if to prepare for a tackle, but then his action is 100% directed toward the ground. Most of his body weight hits the turf, but enough of his torso lands on A1's helmet to warrant a flag. When in question, this should be a foul, especially as I see B64 direct his blow toward the ground. With the drone view, it looks like B64 slides over A1. The sideline view looks a little more egregious. I definitely don't like seeing Team A's assistant coach on the field. The referee should hustle to the coach and escort him off the field. I personally don't like flagging a coach in this scenario. We don't need to immediately penalize the coach for inappropriate emotion. Get him to the sideline, warn him, and then if he repeats the behavior, award him with an unsportsmanlike conduct flag. That's your weekly dozen for games through October 26th. Thanks for watching. This is the final regular season weekly dozen video. If I can scrape together enough playoff video, I will publish my last weekly dozen next week or the week after. If you encounter any interesting plays during your playoffs, I'd love to see them. You can send them to me at contact@artofofficiating.com.